against my best wishes.
Wow, what a treat.
Just very quickly, the fake tears anymore, the not playing anymore tears. We'll roll through it. Praying on the draft. They all just need a quarterback. They need to figure it out in the draft. Absolutely rudderless. These two teams here is the next tier. I honestly, these three teams, don't know what the plan for any of them are. It's like, is two of the guy, is Kyler the guy, is AR the guy? I don't know. They're probably not going to bottom out. They're not going to be any good. Admitting reality. These two teams last few years have been like, we can win right now, we can win right now. No, you can't. Now all of a sudden you have an expensive, somewhat aging roster.
Patriots.
Believing in the quarterback.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Caleb, Bryce, Drake. And a shout out to Bryce for getting himself back on there. Ruined by injuries. Who knows what these three teams could have been if not for the massive injuries. For the Niners, for everyone but the quarterback, and for the Cowboys. Well, I mean, Trevor got hurt again. Second straight year ruined by injury. You don't hold it against Lamar, missed playoffs 2 straight years because of injury. You're going to hold it against the Prince. Really, it's unbelievable. Almost made the playoffs. I think these two teams feel decent. The Falcons, because of the Penix thing. The Seahawks missed the playoffs on a 5th tiebreaker to the Rams. Pretend they made the playoffs. The Bengals. It's like, oh, we basically are there. I don't know what you want me to say. I think that's the next one. If it's not, just go ahead and reveal it. I think it's pretend they made the playoffs. There they are, the Bengals. And then atop the tiers actually made the playoffs. That's it. There you go, Wild. So there you go.
Great.
There's your
Nice appetizer.
nice appetizer. By the way,
Good idea, Wild.
we do have new eliminations. Because
What's this? This is a separate thing.
what do you mean? No, it's not. Every week, teams that show up on the eliminated portion, which used to be its own thing. So we got to look. Multiple championships. Let's start with singular playoff games, Jimmy Harbs. Bo Nix equals Mahomes. Mahomes' first year in the playoffs, he lost in overtime in the AFC Championship game. Bo Nix got blasted 31 straight points, 31-0 in the wild card round, so he's out of there. Anyone else on this side? Well, there's some Texans that'll be going at some point. No, I think we're good here. Now, there's too many. Are we ready?
Don't care.
Not shown the ability to get out of the divisional round. They're actually a pretty damn good wild card round team. That Saturday afternoon playoff game, they win more often than not. That's usually where it ends. Trying to make and repeat history. The history they're trying to make is a rookie quarterback making the Super Bowl. And oh my, if a rookie quarterback makes the Super Bowl, what vindication for there will be a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl this year. Classic 2. The history they're trying to repeat is the 3 rookie quarterbacks who did win road playoff games. 2 of the 3 then also won the next round to get the conference championship game in Flacco and Sanchez. And the one that didn't, Russell Wilson, had a lead with 5 seconds left in that game against Atlanta. Wow. Almost perfect 2 through 53. I mean, what a roster. The reason it's almost perfect is because one of the best players in that 2 through 53, A.J. Brown, seems to be insistent on reminding people when he's seemingly displeased. And the problem is that first player for most teams is the quarterback, and for the Eagles, there are still, once again, questions there. Exorcising demons, Bruce Ravens, 1 by 1. Pittsburgh in the regular season. Beat them soundly last time they played them. Playoff games in general, and it was against Pittsburgh. Just got a great win, start to finish, excellent game for Lamar. What about the Bills, who the last time you played in the playoffs, you threw a pick 6 to lose 17-3 to, a 100-yard pick 6, and then you could beat Patrick Mahomes. You could check off every single playoff and quarterback demon that you have in the next 9 days, 10 days. The 2 key pieces, coach and the quarterback. I like the young defensive line. Puka's obviously awesome. Kyron Williams is great. But the reason you believe in the Rams is the 2 key pieces of McVay and Stafford. This better be the year. The Lions. Twofold. One is the emotional letdown of being this close in back-to-back years and not getting it done. And the real tangible, are they going to lose both coordinators? Sure, looks like it. Looks like Ben Johnson's going somewhere and Aaron Glenn's going somewhere. So this better be the year. Finally, underrated. After a half-decade of being overrated, the Bills finally find themselves in the very rare place of being underrated. Last year in this round, they were sizable favorites at home against the Chiefs. This year in this round, they're point-and-a-half underdogs at home against the Ravens. And last but not least, of course, breaking brains and records, the Kansas City Chiefs. The record is, of course, attempting for the first ever three-peat. The breaking brains is, I'm old enough to remember when Patrick Mahomes hurt his ankle. Everyone in sports media saying, oh, this could be really bad for Kansas City because no one needs the bye more than the Chiefs. And now they might have the rest of them not get it. And now you know what I'm hearing? That bye they got, probably bad for them. I think they're going to be rusty. I don't think they're going to be able to handle that ferocious Texans pass rush that they just handled a few weeks.
First off, Nick even talked about the issues of potentially getting banged up over that stretch of games. Not to mention, he also said that he was concerned if they lock up the first round bye too soon, that they would kind of potentially get disengaged. And now he's trying to act like it's crazy to have any of these other takes. You know, just absurd. Absurd. Okay. You know what's also absurd? This. Whatever this column is, you know, I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at a whole bunch of nonsense. That's what I'm looking at. Let's be real here. Let's just keep this so simplified, because it need not be. I understand the urge, the need. It's gotta be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not the way the world works. Not the way the world works. It's not even the way other sports works. If it was, it would be very easy. And like I always say, if it was, then we would consistently, sports betting wouldn't exist because they would lose too much money. So you're not going to put these teams in that order like that, because it just makes fundamentally no sense at this point. Dropping the Eagles down all the way down to the bottom like that, having them have the Rams now leapfrog, like, come on, man. What are we saying here? And I'm a firm believer in the Rams and Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Like, I really am. I really am. But when you put it like this, that's where it becomes nonsense, though. That's where it becomes nonsense. So that's why I have the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens all in that top tier. I kind of did this a little bit with the herd hierarchy the other day. But I have those three teams because I just think at the end of the day, those three teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, are going to be the ones that just haunt you at night. Because of, again, mainly because of the three quarterbacks more than anything. But then when you start adding other pieces like Andy Reid, Derrick Henry, etc., like then you're just like, this is going to be brutal. This is going to be brutal. And then I put the Lions and the Eagles together. And again, to be fair, I would put the Lions in that other top tier if I knew that they were 100% fully healthy. And because they're not, I think it's just fair to make them have some extra. Doesn't mean that they can't beat those teams, but I just think it's fair. And again, I've defended them with all their injuries and all that, but I just think you can't be, if you're 100% healthy, you're a top tier team, and then you get banged up, to think that you don't lose anything, that can't actually make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because then you would say that those players didn't matter, and it's just like, this doesn't make sense. So that's why I think it's fair to kind of knock them down. And I have the Eagles there, and because the Eagles, I get the angst of Nick Wright. And again, I've defended the Eagles as well. I get it. The Eagles don't give you the same level of confidence as, say, a Kansas City Chiefs. Because you just know that those players are going to play big. You know Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Spags, like, you just know that they're going to show up. They've consistently done it. The Eagles do not have that going for them. They just don't. And like, whatever you want to say or not, and I've already unpacked this so many times about the book and this or that. Like, it's just a different situation in Philly. It just is. And so that just can't make you feel great. I do think the Eagles should beat the Rams. And they have the better roster, and it's like, they have a stacked roster. If they lose to the Rams, it is 100% on them. I think it's always okay to lose to a better team, but in the playoffs, it's not okay to lose to a team that you're clearly better than. And then I would actually put the Commanders, then Rams. But if I want to be like real easy about it, I'd put the Commanders and Rams then in the same tier. Or again, I'd put the Commanders, the Rams, and the Texans in the same tier. just to kind of be like, hey, these teams are fun. These teams can definitely make noise. And when everything is firing at all cylinders, then they could beat any team, quite frankly. But more things need to go right. For the Commanders, for the Rams, and the Texans, more things need to go right for them to be able to come away with wins. Do you really think the Texans can beat the Chiefs without playing perfect ball? Is it even remotely possible for them to have a single turnover, a fourth down that they don't convert on their own 40 and still win that game? I don't see it happening. Same thing for the Commanders and the Rams. Those three teams need to play perfect football to win. Now, they're capable of doing it, but will they do it? And can they do it with a high enough frequency that when it's in the playoffs, they come away with the victory? That's my question mark with those three teams. When it comes to the Eagles and the Lions, I think those teams can make mistakes and still win the game, as we saw them both do over this season. And of course, I think that the Chiefs and the Lions and the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens can. Although it's interesting because during the regular season, so much of how the Chiefs won was really by minimizing their mistakes. It was really just being like, you're going to make the mistakes, we're not. We might not be world beaters. We might not be this most dominant team that you're accustomed to seeing, but we play more consistent than you. We are betting that you are going to slip and fall. You are going to make a mistake, and when you do, we're just going to come away with a win. It's that simple. It's kind of like the tortoise and the hare type of a thing. I think the Chiefs, though, are probably somewhat changing that because now going into the playoffs, they're going to be healthier. They're going to be healthier, and I think going up against a team like the Texans, they probably have more room to kind of make some mistakes and still come away with the win. Now, listen, maybe I'm underselling the Texans. Maybe I am. I had high expectations on the Texans going into the season. They did not live up to my own personal expectations. If CJ Stroud can really remind everyone why he was a top pick, why he was about to be a superstar, why people like me and many other people who know football way more than me, were like, he's going to be in the MVP conversation this season. If he can remind everyone of that, and the defense can truly just get after Patrick Mahomes, like the defense got after Justin Herbert, as well as the Rams defense getting after Sam Darnold, then yeah, they can come away with this win. And I will be the first one to admit, like, I did not see that coming. I thought this team was going to be great. I don't know what the heck they did during the regular season, but they clearly got it all together in the playoffs. Kudos to them. Now, I will have to dig deep and watch a lot of other people's breakdowns of it to be like, how did this happen? Because I really want to understand how you could play the way you played during the regular season and then just turn it on. And then again, I would find it genuinely fascinating. But it's an uphill battle for them. It just is. But that makes it actually kind of exciting for that game, though. And I think I'm going to live stream the Texans versus Chiefs. I think that's the Saturday afternoon game, I think. So I think I'm going to live stream that, which I'll give more information on that on Thursday and Friday. But let's see. I assume Greg is going to go, and since he picked the Texans to win the Super Bowl, I think either win the Super Bowl or get to the Super Bowl. I assume he's going to have a problem with that.
Weeks ago. That is the divisional round tiers. Greg Jennings, go ahead. What's up, buddy?
To the Texans, man.
What do you want?
And I get it.
So
I
predictable.
Get it. You got
I did not watch this clip ahead
franchise
of time.
hard ceiling. But sometimes when you have new players that don't know and they haven't been a part of the past, they don't carry that same luggage. So I'm dismissing the idea of this franchise hard
on the
ceiling.
team last year, most of them.
I would like the Texans to move up just one. But when you look at this Texans team, nobody's giving them a chance except your guy right here.
Really?
And one of the reasons why is because this defense. So much is talked about in the postseason about the quarterback and the coach and defense. Wilds, what does it do?
Well, it wins championship.
It wins championship. And you put this up yesterday, and this was great. The takeaways, you see what they are. Pressures, you see what they are. And if you are going to win games in this round and eliminate a hard ceiling that some has set, not your own, you got to play good defense against a really good team. And we know you're taking on the Chiefs. I don't care who you're taking on. You don't care who you're taking on. The fact is, you're playing in this round. You're better than the 8th best team in the postseason. You'll play like it. Oh, and by the way, they actually do have a quarterback that's been pretty good in the postseason.
It is true. That is true.
It's C.J. Stroud. And this is what he's been. So for me, I get it. You're not high on the Texans. The committee's not high on the Texans. But put some respect on these guys.
Okay. All right. Here's the problem.
All right.
The CJ thing actually works against you. Because
how does the CJ thing work?
I'm about to tell you.
Well, please, share.
Because CJ right now is, you agree, one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. He's not Lamar or Burrow or Josh or Patrick, obviously, but he's one of the best. Well, all those quarterbacks are on a group chat. Lamar, Burrow, Josh, Tua, Trevor. Baker used to be in the AFC, not anymore. Big Ben, they haven't taken him off it yet. Andrew Luck when he's not traveling. And it's commiserating about Patrick Mahomes sending home. CJ hasn't gotten the invite yet because he hasn't been eliminated in the playoffs yet by Patrick Mahomes. Now he's going to get, so it's kind of a sweet and sour type of thing. The sour is he loses. The sweet is he gets to join that group.
That's cool.
And so that, yeah, I think so too.
The Heisman House.
I think that exactly right.
No.
Good job,
No,
KW.
this is not how it works.
And yeah, I saw the Chiefs play this Texans defense, and just Mahomes got the ball out like that every single time, and there was no problem. So, no, I'm not. And that game was in Houston. This one's in Arrowhead, and it's going to be freezing. No, not one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think I hear something.
The smartest in the room, smartest in the room, that man brew, that man brew. The smartest in the room, smartest in the room, that man brew.
I mean, smartest in the room says Ravens tier 2. We didn't even have to change it from yesterday's Mahomes Mountain.
Can I say something before you keep going?
Sure. You got a problem with the song?
I like the song. There was a few parts of that song, and it was mostly about how the Ravens and Lamar were so great. But you keep on excerpting the part that says how you're so smart and great.
Look, I had nothing to do with the lyrics of the song. Nothing at all. They watched the show, and this is the conclusion they come to. I had nothing to do with it. Anyway,
Yeah.
I get tired of just saying the Ravens should be higher. The Ravens obviously should be second. All right, Chiefs, we got them at top. Ravens second. Let me focus though on the Rams. You know, that's one team. I think they should be ahead of all three of those. But the Rams, I mean, I don't know. Does the regular season matter at all?
It should a little bit.
The Rams were 10-7, Ravens 12-5 against a much tougher schedule. Ravens won 7 games against playoff teams. The Rams won 2 in 5 attempts. So they were 2-3, just like the Bills, against playoff teams. I think that should matter. Who's got the better defense? The Ravens. Who's got the better quarterback? The Ravens.
We're talking about Ravens-Rams right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, I know. All right, he got the hardware too. Two MVPs. All right, 2 MVPs. It's a team wins the Super Bowl. He won the hardware. Who got the better running back? The running game. I mean, we got a Super Bowl winning coach. I get it, the Rams do too, but Harbaugh's no slouch. And then the Bills the Bills are as much as it gets in the NFL, a one-man team. Not to disrespect the other guys. And the Lions have a leaky defense. None of those teams should be ahead of the Ravens.
Hold on. But, Brew, if your argument against the Rams is going to be based on record and regular season, then what argument possible is the Ravens should be ahead of the Lions? If you're going to, you can't.
Because the Lions' defense is poor.
Right.
And the Ravens is
right,
not.
But I understand.
That wasn't the entire argument, wasn't based on record and playoff teams they beat. That was just a portion.
So I think the Rams defense right now is playing literally as well as any team in the league. That's
based on one game.
No, it's
against
based
Sam
on 4
Darnold.
games.
It's against 9
it's the last month of football. They haven't allowed 10 points. They haven't allowed 10
to the
points.
injury-plagued Niners,
The Niners
and 2
who have
other
your guy Brock Purdy
non-playoff
that you
teams.
love.
Yeah, but he had none of his
It
weapons.
was raining.
Right. They only scored 12. Matthew Stafford looked horrible in that
It was
game.
raining.
It's playoff football. There's going to be cold weather and
The
rain.
defense wasn't that great. It was raining. Both teams were horrible. And then
He
the
was
Jets
riding
game,
all
both
Stafford
teams were horrible.
One pass. I credit him, but that's all he did that game.
What's the excuse for
The Cardinals?
No, the Vikings.
Darnold. That's
Okay.
the excuse.
All right,
Sam
so
Darnold. You're not facing Sam Darnold this weekend. I'll tell you that.
Okay. I agree with that part of it.
The Rams aren't.
I
play the Rams.
understand.
The Bills aren't.
Yeah. The Bills. Go ahead.
I got lost on that.
So did Bill.
I like that you came to my defense.
Okay,
Clearly
good.
the Ravens are behind.
I'm not moving the Commanders up, but I'm just saying I'm a little bit nervous as a Lions guy.
Wow.
As a Lions guy, I'm nervous about the Commanders. Do
you
I
really
expect
a
the Lions to cruise? Yes, but I'm also a realist. And Greg, tell me if this is wrong. If a team is going to beat the Lions, they're going to be a defensive team that can put some stops. You don't think they're going to be able to stop Detroit? I hope not. But the defense has gotten better. The first few weeks, not great. First 12 games, actually. And then all of a sudden, the last 6, wow, everything got better. So I'm like, all right, the defense is improving. Then you got the fourth quarter, if it's close. I think the Lions will be great. But certainly they can't look to the opposite sidelines and be like, oh, we'll be fine, rookie QB over there. This guy's locked in, Brady-esque. And then finally, you mentioned it, rookie quarterbacks actually somehow better in the divisional round. Now they have no chance in the conference championship, but divisional round, you're all of a sudden 500. I'm just nervous. I'm not moving the Commanders up. I'm also just seeding the ground.
Wild.
Seeding the ground. If the Lions lose,
I
I'll be a
would
Commanders
really
guy.
like you to say something. And Bubs, get the graphic.
I've been a Commanders guy. Check out my
get it ready.
Patriots.
So you really can't be a Lions guy and say that you're nervous because we're not even allowing you in the locker room. You're not.
How can that be true? I'm a Lions guy saying I'm looking at.
Because what you
Stand 10 toes down.
Here's what you're
He
doing.
ain't 10 toes.
This
He's one
is
toe
why
down.
I'm nervous.
You're
Wild,
one toe down.
This is why you can be so frustrated. First of
Coaching
all,
analysis?
you demand that we break format for tiers.
And
so
it was
be
good.
it. So
I
be
got
it.
that right.
So
So one for
we
one in
do
the segment
we
so
do it
far.
for you. But then you have 2 jobs during tiers. One is pithy introduction.
Yeah.
The other one is to make an argument that a team should move up or down.
Yeah.
Instead, what you used your time for was to essentially make it so no matter what happens in
Exactly.
Commanders Lions,
Okay, fine.
you can be like, told you so.
I felt this
Yeah, I
way.
mean, it is taking
You're not a
Captain
Lions
Easy
guy.
stance to a new heights,
right.
where it's just Captain can't be wrong. Where it's like, listen, I'm a Lions guy. I totally
Lions
believe
guy.
in the Lions. I think the Commanders are a little dangerous. Not dangerous enough to even say they should be moved up one rung on the ladder.
Well, the Eagles certainly are. The Eagles are being disrespected, but I can only do one team. Well, certainly the Eagles should be above the Rams, who they just demolished by 17 points way back.
Well, why
when?
didn't you do that?
Thanksgiving.
Hold up. Can I tell you? Just thank you so much for saying that. Then we can move on. The reason you didn't do that, which would have been interesting and good, was because if you do that, there is a definitive way for you to end up being wrong. The
Move
Rams
the Eagles
win that
up then. All right,
football
fine,
game.
redo it. Move the Eagles up. We just did Rams. Well, I just went through it. We just did the Rams segment.
There we go.
They beat the Cardinals, who gave up. They beat the Jets, and it was freezing. They beat the 49ers, and both teams looked horrible because it was rainy. They went. Then they played Mr. Pumpkin.
This is what
Well,
for Mr.
this is going off the
Defense
rails.
wins championship.
And defense, they let the Bills score 42
See, there we go.
points.
There we go.
All the Rams defense, unless it's precipitating or freezing cold
Or what about
or
Monday
pumpkin
night?
mode, it went pumpkin. You can't say he went pumpkin and the Rams did this great job.
You're the one who said he went pumpkin.
He went pumpkin. Everybody knows it. Timeline's filled with pumpkin memes.
All right. It's often why I usually don't do the full segment because it just gets too weird and crazy. But yeah. No, I mean I already said my piece in the beginning of it all. There's not really much more to add. I've already been on my Commanders rants. I've already talked about the Raven. I've already talked about all these teams. So there's really not not a whole lot to add in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's it's so hard to have these conversations at this point, I feel like, because the game is literally just in a couple days away, right? Like literally 2 days away, 2.5 days, however you want to do the math, for, you know, the games that are on Saturdays and whatnot. And we just saw some of these teams play in the playoffs, and then you try to balance out, like, what did I see in the playoffs versus what did I see in the regular season? How much does the regular season matter? Okay, they had a big playoff win, but they were at home. What's it going to be like on the road? Like, you know, oh, you were on the road and you won, but now you got to be on the road again. Like, it's just, it actually is kind of a messy situation where it's like, where do you put more stock in? Do you put more stock in like, for instance, like the Rams are kind of a perfect example. Do you put more stock in the Rams beating and convincingly winning against the Minnesota Vikings? Or do you put more stock into how they ended the final 3-4 games of the season? Like they're kind of fighting over. Same thing with the Eagles. We had an entire season of them, outside of like 2 games, them playing really, really high level football. And then they played against the Packers, which wasn't low level football, but I would say that they had regular season games that they played better, that things looked more cohesive. And so it's, you know, and it's just kind of interesting. The Texans have not had, you know, you just got to say it. They had a good regular season, not a great regular season. Then they come away with the playoff win, and it's like, all right, you know, are they kind of turning things around? Same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens had a very bizarre start to their season. Then they kind of got good. Then they had a weird middle, and then they were real hot at the end. And now they had an easy playoff game against the Steelers. Kind of a similar thing with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills started off hot, then had a couple really wonky losses, then got hot, had a really weird win like against the Patriots, demolished the Jets, who cares? And then they demolished the Broncos, easy first round game. So it's like, it's just hard. It really, really is. And I like hard. I like to kind of struggle with trying to like make sense of things. If something's too easy, well, then it's like, you know, it's kind of like watching a great team play the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's like, what do you want me to say about it? I'm expecting this team to demolish the Jags. The Jags aren't good. Mac Jones is in. Okay, great. And then when the game's over and they win, I'm like, what am I supposed to say? They beat Mac Jones and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, hooray. Like, you know, there's nothing to talk about. So I do like, I do like that it does kind of get messy, that it is kind of like, you know, because if the Eagles dominated the Packers, and the Rams won in a weird nail-biter 13-10 against the Vikings, like, then going into this, you're going to be like, oh, dude, the Eagles should dominate the Rams. Easy. But the fact that we saw the Rams win I don't want to say an easy game, but they won in a very interesting way, because they won convincingly in terms of the score. And I'll talk about this more, actually, in my Rams video that I haven't made yet. I saw they did it, but I haven't watched the clip yet. But in terms of some of the smaller details of that game, like only a little over 200 yards for Stafford, like 2 for 8 or 2 for 10 on third down. Like it was hardly like a clean game on their behalf. And same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles won a game pretty convincingly box score wise, but also hardly a clean game on their part. So it's kind of like, well, what are these two teams going to look like when they face each other? Like, you know, I kind of love that confusion. I love that murkiness. So, but yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out soon enough, that's for sure. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Knicks? What are we calling these? Playoff tiers? Yeah. Knicks tiers entering divisional round. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.